Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Kabir Singh, and this is Against the Grain. Do you remember in 2020 during the George Floyd protests when there were calls to defund the police? Yeah, me too.
Good times, good times.
Except it wasn't good times. All it did was unnecessarily further the divide in this country. And we're going to talk about somebody who's really feeling the ramifications of that rhetoric. But before we do, make sure that you like this video, comment on this video, subscribe to this channel if you've not already, and hit that notification bell. If you're unfamiliar with Shivanthi Sathanandan, here she is. She is a political activist from Minnesota. She started her career in 2004 as a policy analyst for Minnesota's House of Representatives, where she focused on healthcare, education, human services, and civil rights. She then went on to join the Minnesota Democratic Farmer and Labor Party, where she became the first person of color to hold the position of vice chairwoman. And most recently, she is serving as the party's state outreach and inclusion officer. Another thing she's been known for is her support for defunding the police. One of her posts on Facebook reads, "We are going to dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department." Say it with me. Dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department, with a clapping emoji after every word. You know that scene from SpongeBob where he's in that place where everybody spits after every word? That kind of reminds me with that clapping emoji.
I can't understand your accent.
Next bus to Bikini Bottom.
It goes on to say, as allies, what can we do right now? Listen and learn from our black siblings, and then amplify this message right now, in this moment. MPD has systematically failed the black community. They have failed all of us. It is time to build a new infrastructure that works for all communities. If you are still disagreeing with that basic fact, I'm not sure what to tell you. And then another post on Facebook reads her thanking Minneapolis public schools for terminating their contract with the police department in the height of George Floyd. Well, she was recently jumped outside of her house in broad daylight by 4 armed men in front of her kids, her 4-year-old and her 7-year-old. And as a result, she suffered some lacerations, cuts, bruises, a broken leg, and then she took to Facebook to post this photo. Here's a picture of her bloodied face. And she posted a very long caption to Facebook. I'm not going to read it all, just pieces. The first part reads, "We need to get illegal guns off of our streets, catch these young people who are running wild, creating chaos for our country, and hold them in custody and prosecute them." Another piece reads, "Look at my face. Remember me when you are thinking about supporting letting juveniles and young people out of custody to roam our streets instead of holding them accountable for their actions." And then she concludes the Facebook post by writing, "Thank you to the incredible Minneapolis 4th Precinct officers, Mayor Frey, Chief O'Hara, paramedics, neighbors, friends, and DFL family who came out to our aids during this terrifying experience. I'm so grateful for this community that wraps us in love." So basically, you went from hating the police to being grateful for them because you realize without them, everybody would be left to their own devices. Interesting how that works out, right? Based Immigrant said on X, "I hate it when the consequences of my actions beat me up in front of my children."
Oh, you killed her, dude!
Sherry Kentucky said on X, "When reality smacks ideology upside the head." I know I'm laughing at these, and they are kind of funny, but let me say I don't think anybody deserves for this to happen. Regardless of what Shivanthi said, for it to happen like that, and for it to be in front of her 2 young children, it can be traumatic for so many people in so many ways. And I really hope that the people that did this to her are punished to the full extent of the law. I understand that Defund the Police gained steam in 2020 amidst a global pandemic. Emotions were already high from being locked in your house all day, and then to top it off, a person of color is killed by a white police officer. And multiple things can be true at once. Even though George Floyd was a criminal with an extensive rap sheet who was resisting arrest, was high on fentanyl, and was unnecessarily and unfairly promoted to God status, was Derek Chauvin also completely in the right? I don't think so either. At a certain point, what he was doing was uncalled for, and he was on a complete power trip, and he did pay the price for it. And does that speak to a certain extent of police needing reforms? In some cases, in some police departments, yes, there should be better training for these police officers to go out and handle these sort of dangerous encounters better so that unnecessary deaths can be avoided. But that would also require more funding to the police departments rather than defunding the police. As citizens, we absolutely have the right to express it if we feel there needs to be change in any manner. Because like I said in a previous video, freedom of speech and freedom of expression are endowed to us by our Constitution and are unalienable. At the same time, it's important how we express it. It needs to bring people to the table rather than drive people further away. The police absolutely deserve to have their voices heard because the majority of them do not go out every morning with the intention of taking somebody's life. And this whole rioting and vilifying the force has really created an us versus them mentality. It's very divisive, and at that point, they just really don't want to hear it. So given that, and I firmly stand on that Shivanthi did not deserve to have that happen to her, I can also understand why there are people who have trouble empathizing with their situation. Somebody wrote on X, "There's cruelty in rejoicing in this attack. That being said, you've been enabling similar and much worse ones attacks on countless people. Please do better." To which somebody else replied, "Sometimes you have to be cruel to be kind. If she gets somebody killed with her cries to defund the police, what then? She wasn't going to stop until she saw the consequences of her decisions. I hope this saves some lives. I'm sure it will." And in fact, there have been police officers who have died because of this. Take, for example, David Dorn. He was protecting a store from being looted during the George Floyd riots, and he was murdered in cold blood. He wasn't doing anything wrong. He was trying to defend his community with dignity and honor, and he got his life callously taken away from him. Now ask yourself honestly, if somebody you love was a police officer who was murdered because of these riots, would you not at least in part blame the wholesale dehumanization of the badge? Now, what David Dorn and Shivanthi Sathanandan have in common is that if people had stepped back and realized that, well, yes, our voices are important and they deserve due respect, the way we say it matters as well. By fighting fire with more fire, it will only create more anger, divide, and vitriol. Rather, we need to approach these situations with a goal of mutual understanding and unity, and we need to grant some grace along the way. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and if you're new to this channel, watch some of these videos. Also, feel free to follow me on social media. Until next time.